it's like every 6 months, you know, this big thing you've got to go through. Hi guys, I've just come back inside. I was going to do this outside. I'm on my phone because I was going to be out there, but it's really, really windy. You wouldn't be able to hear anything. But I've just been getting ready for my COF, and I'm now just waiting till next week. Okay, I was outside with the camera, but it's a noisy place. I'm parked down the bottom at the NZMCA park in Rotorua, and there's always a lot of traffic noise there. But I don't know, I think the traffic noise is worth it because you can get a little bit more space. You haven't got your neighbours like right there, which I'd rather listen to the road than deal with noisy neighbours rabbiting crap when they're half drunk later on, you know. So anyway, I made it through to Rotorua. I've just got to bring up the muffler people tomorrow and find out when I can get that welded and do my COF, and hopefully then I can head south once that's all done. Okay, same position again, but a lot's happened. So I went into Rotorua, miserably failed my COF for various silly things and a couple of bigger things. Probably the worst I've ever had. I don't usually have more than one thing, or none. So it was a little bit of a shock, and there was a couple of petty things that peeved me off, but anyway, I went to the truck workshop in Rotorua this morning. They went to check my kingpin because it had play in it, which annoyed me because I've had them done. But they need more shims in them. There's up and down movement, but not sideways. So the guys there weren't too sure on parts and would have to get the whole kit in. And I remember last time when I had them done in Tauranga, they had to come from the UK. So that took ages. So I rang up Lance Cryer from the workshop, and he could have sent stuff down to them to use, but I think it's easier for Lance and his son to pull it apart and figure out exactly what size shims are needed. And then there are these other things that I can't remember what they're called, cotter pins and things like that. That are required, maybe the thing that goes underneath the kingpin, some kind of bearing. So my best move was to head northwards, and it was a horrible day. It's just been blowing a friggin' gale and trying to hang on to the truck and bad visibility, and oh my god, what a drive. It's about 125 k's, which is not that bad, but in that kind of weather, it felt like a lot more. So I'm just sitting here at Pyroa once again, like I did last time. I've got some washing on, so that's handy because I've been needing to do some washing. And tomorrow I head to Lance Cryer's, and with the rusty bits I got failed on, where there was some old rust that I cleaned up donkey's years ago, and where the toe kick thing for the steps in the cab is. That had rusted because there used to be rubber mats glued against there, and I pulled them off and it was a mess. So I cleaned it all up and rust-proofed it and bogged it. Well, this time, after all these years, it wasn't an issue. So, that needs to get cut out and welded. I've had an offer from fellow YouTuber to do it, which is up this way too, and Lance Cryer could maybe do it too, so he said. So I'll see what happens there. I also spoke to a panel beater next door to the truck workshop. That was going to be quite costly, but you know, it needs to be done. And that thing really, I'm not too annoyed about it because I've always sort of cringed a bit about what happened there, because from behind it's always looked pretty messy because the bog went through the holes in the steel and kind of, yeah, it wasn't the prettiest job, but nobody's ever worried about it because it's not structural. It doesn't support the step in any way or form. All it stops is your toe from going through, you know. So anyway, so that needs to be fixed. I put some new reflectors on the back. The one that he said had water in it, it didn't. It was a little bit dusty. Okay. And I've got this is where I am. My front axle is up on blocks at the moment. This side's been done. It's got new shims on the kingpins. And another exciting thing that happened was that the wheel cylinders were leaking. Luckily it hadn't gotten on the lining, so I guess that's a blessing. But they're not cheap, those cylinders. So yeah, it's been one of those days where things kept piling up. Oh, another car. It's a busy road. There's also another hole in the exhaust I didn't know about, so I'll have to get that fixed, which is probably where my rumble's been coming from, maybe. This side, there's the brake shoes, brake linings, the kingpin's been done, but the new cylinder's still got to go in and so forth. And then we've got to get these things cut and welded. That's all full of boggy stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go inside out of the wind and the noise. This is the yard. Whoops, my shoe fell off. I'll show you where I am. So I'm inside, still trying to dry out my cupboards because on my way up here something fell off the shelf and turned the tap on, and my entire water tank, which is 370 litres, pumped itself into my grey tank, and the effect was that it also leaked all through the cupboard. So I'm trying to dry that out at the moment. I had to have a big clean out there last night. Also the pump had run dry by the time I pulled up in Pairoa and heard the buzzing. I went, oh no, ran inside and turned it off, and now it just blips. So whenever I finish using the water, I just have to turn the switch off. I tried to put my other pump in, but that wouldn't pump at all. So I'm better off with a pump that just blips all the time. I suspect it got a bit hot and maybe one of the little diaphragms is a bit, but I'll deal with that later. Right now there's just so much going on. I'm really tired. It's been stressful. I spent ages today mucking around with that pump, probably about 3 hours, and I cleaned the brake line at the back that got failed in my COF for being dirty. It had grease on it from the drive shaft. So I gave that a good clean up with some brake clean and a rag and a scrubby thing, and hopefully that's okay now. Okay, I've made it to somewhere peaceful for a couple of days. I just need to gather my wits, clean up, paint that garden that was looking pretty grotty and things like that, and just catch my breath. I needed to do that. I was exhausted. The cat was getting fed up with being locked up and places that are noisy, and there's machinery and compressors and people banging underneath her house. You know, she's been quite stressed about all of that. So we're going to take a couple of days. I need to have a wee look at my finances as to whether it's a good move to head south, because yeah, I'd have to get road users and things like that, because I really seriously should work and recover my finances a little bit, because that was pretty expensive, that whole week of getting all that work done and COF, and you know, 350 or 380 k's worth of driving, buying 3 lots of different reflectors, because that turned into a fiasco where I'd bought some and one fell off. Then I got some at VT&Z, they weren't the right colour. Then I got some more and they were too small, and then I had to get some more again. Luckily, the truck workshop next to VT&Z and Thames gave them to me, because they reckon the guy in the testing station is a bit of a so-and-so. So they said, oh look, just have them. So that was nice. So during the recheck, it was hilarious. The guy was like, those aren't the right ones. And I'm like, oh God. And he was doing the recheck. So I ran off and I ran into their office and bought some. And then I went out and I was sticking them on. And he was like, no, they're too small. So I'm like, oh gosh, and I'm just standing there thinking, what's next? And he says, try the truck shop next door. And I raced over there. Hilarious. They said, yes, we have some, but their computer system had broken down and they couldn't I couldn't pay for it. And the guy said, look, just go, run, have them. It's a present, you know, which was lovely, because it was a bit of a situation. It was like, I just need these to get my sticker, you know. And then the computer system being broken, it was like, oh gosh, what's going to happen next? So anyway, I grabbed a few items of food and some fuel and headed back to Peace and Tranquility for a couple of days to just reassess things, have a look at things, paint that guard. My house was a bomb site. I had grease on my rug. Yeah, it had been one of those weeks. But the good news is I do have my sticker now. Yay. It was expensive. It was hard going. I ended up with it. I'd failed for water in a reflector, which actually wasn't true. A dirty brake hose. Movement in my kingpins up and down, not sideways, so the shims, and what else was it? Oh, that bit of rust in that step, which frustrated me, because that is so not a safety issue, that place. It's just a kick plate, you know, for the step. It's not even the step itself. The step itself is attached with pardon me, great big iron steel brackets, so it's not going to fall off. But anyway, so that was a huge adventure. And once I got to Lance Cries, it turned out that I had another hole in my exhaust. My brake cylinders were leaking, so I had to get new ones of those. They aren't cheap. Luckily, the linings didn't get fluid on them, so that was a bit of a blessing. But yeah, the amount, I was sort of mentally going, oh gosh, where am I at here financially? How much is this all going to cost? And the bill was fair, very fair, I have to say. It wasn't cheap, but it was very fair. And I think maybe, yeah, he'd been kind to me, Lance Cryer. I do feel he was. I don't know what that would normally go for, all that work, but I felt he'd been kind, a very kind man. I really appreciated so much being able to go to him and not race around like crazy trying to go to different places to get different things done. It was just, I just sat there for 2 days in his front yard there of his business and yeah, got things fixed. So I think he was kind, which was lovely. And talking about kindness, I don't know who of you watch my channel or not. I don't get, information on that from YouTube. But if you're one of the lovely people who responded to Buster McBussus, Gary's call out to try and aid me financially, and I didn't have time. Everything was crazy to set up a special page, so I just chucked up a PayPal link and said, if you really want to help, you can, but you don't have to. I'll figure this out. But people did, and some of them I've never met in person. I was absolutely blown away at what beautiful, what wonderful, what compassionate people are in our on-road community, you know. I mean, I've had a few bad experiences out there, so to come across this kind of level of kindness, of help, was just amazing. You know? So I feel very, very, very warm and fuzzy with all you people who did this. So special shout out to you, special thank you. You know who you are, and I appreciate it so much. I've got to figure out whether I want to go to the Woodville gathering, because I want to meet some of these people who gave me so much support, you know. It's like I'd like to meet them face to face and see them, but I'm also very aware that it's a long trip, which is going to take quite a bit of fuel and stuff and cut into my work hours a bit. So I'm going to make my mind up this weekend what I should do with that. I'd really, really like to, because, yeah, I was just blown away by those people. It was just so cool. It was really, really amazing. So thank you again. I'll stop raving. Anyway, yeah, that's been my adventure. That's what's been happening. I'm so grateful to all of you who helped. I'm grateful for all the support and kind words and love from the people around me, and I'm so grateful to Lance Cryer for being a great guy and his worker, the guy who did all the work, which he was amazing, patient, wonderful, calm mechanic who just did it. I was impressed. It was very nice. So anyway, that's the end of this adventure. Lots of love to you all, and I'll see you in my next video, whatever that may be.